Hello, welcome to the Retro Game Club Podcast, Season 6, Episode 19, which is also Episode 182. I am Rob, and joining me is someone who plugs in a Master System adapter to his Genesis and then a Coleco adapter into his Master System adapter, and probably a few things into that. Hugh.
Yeah, actually, I plugged the 2600 adapter into the ColecoVision adapter.
That's the, what would it be? Tower of Power, right?
It would be. Yeah, I mean, I know when people have posted like the Sega Tower of Power, sometimes they're posting things that don't actually work. Mm-hmm. Like the 32X and Master System can't coexist.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's annoying.
That one is. So, but you could do like 32, you could do an X band into a 32X probably. And then Sonic and Knuckles into the X band, and then something into Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Let's just see. I'm just doing a Google image search here. Oh, yeah, this one has like a Game Genie involved.
Does a Game Genie work in a 32X?
Yeah, see, the one I'm looking at has the Master System plugged into the 32X, which won't work. I got to find a picture of one that would actually run. Yeah, so this one is 32X with an X band, a Game Genie, Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic 3. And I suspect that would actually work.
Yeah, I think so. So what's been going on other than your Tower of Power?
Yeah, let me look at my notes here. So last weekend I had to go up to Waukesha, Wisconsin. It's a Milwaukee suburb. Mm-hmm. But it's got it's a town sort of built on like nostalgia. It's sort of hard to describe. Like, I guess Les Paul is either from Waukesha or at some point passed through the town. Because half the streets are named after, like, it's like Les Paul Avenue. There's a lot of like vintage, like 50s and 60s guitar themed stuff all over the place.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I actually never Googled to see if he did grow up in town. Yeah, it's possible he's never even been in the town. Sometimes towns just will decide to adopt a celebrity. Oh, yeah, he is born 1915, Waukesha, Wisconsin. There you go. So I checked out a couple stores. I'm going to leave a quick review of both of them. I went to a store called One Stop Wonders, which is fairly new, I think. It's tiny, very, very small, but it has a lot of NES games, and it has a lot of games from like the past, 10, 20 years, and a lot of toys and, I don't know, 1,000 comic books, let's say. Mm-hmm. A lot of comic books. And the prices there looked okay. Actually, did not seem like they were trying to get like eBay prices for everything. And then I went to another place called... Wait, what's the actual name of the place? The Picky Resale Shop?
Okay.
That's it. I hope I got that name right. If not, you'll figure it out. That place is more like a giant cleaner Salvation Army. Mm-hmm. So it's really disorganized. But like they have video games in like literally 10 different places in the store. Like you'll walk around and then you'll just see a glass case where there's like a 5200 and some games. And then somewhere else in the store, there's a glass case with a bunch of Game Boy games. I mean, they had a ton of games. And they were willing to bargain on everything.
Did you pick anything up?
Yeah, so that one, my kid bought Skyrim for her 360 because she wanted to try that.
Okay.
And I got some Star Wars Micro Machines in box. So somewhere like in the 80s, maybe into the early 90s, they did a line of Micro Machines that are Star Wars themed.
I think I remember those.
Yeah, it's late 80s to mid 90s is what I recall. And my wife has a near like full collection of those boxed. That was something that she really liked collecting, and I saw one there that she didn't have yet. So that was good. And what else? Have you seen this UFO 50 game?
Oh, the reviews are so good on it. It's on my list. I want to play it before the end of the year.
Yeah. It's only on Steam right now, and I don't have a Steam Deck, but I figure this has to be coming to Switch.
It's gotta be. It's the perfect Switch game. So, our listeners that don't know, it's a mock. They made up a mock company called UFO Soft, and They developed 50 real games. So this fake company was supposed to exist between 81 and 89 or something like that. And it's supposed to be like Atari 50 for this fake company. And it's all like 8 and 16-bit games. And I've been told that there are at least 6 games on there that like you easily pay $15 for. They're that good.
Yeah. And what I learned recently, just from following game news, is that apparently there's a Reddit. I don't follow Reddit. There's a Reddit for UFO 50, but the people on the Reddit are role playing like it's a real system. So someone, like, I just typed in UFO 50 Switch, and the first search result is a Reddit post, because Google now is just basically a gateway to Reddit, as far as I can tell. I don't know why. I'm beginning to wonder why Google exists, because like it's at the point where like 100% of the things I search, Reddit's the first result. I've hit page down twice now, once to get past the AI results and once to get past
Yeah,
the Reddit.
it's Reddit or Wikipedia, like nothing.
Yeah. And so someone posted on there, has there been any word on when this is coming to consoles, Switch, Xbox, etc.? And the first reply is, your best bet might be to track down an old LX console at a pawn shop rather than wait for the port. And I'm sure Google AI will soon be giving that as a recommendation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. That is about it for me. Maybe that's why they're role playing like that. Maybe they're trying to see how long before Google AI starts thinking that this is a real console.
That's actually pretty funny. Maybe they'll release a real console and it will come out before the Amico.
Yeah, I mean, anything would come out before the Amico. Yeah, so what have you been up to?
Let's see. Oh, last episode, we missed 2 birthdays. We missed the Lynx turning 35, and we missed the Neo Geo CD turning 30.
Oh, okay. So if you want to easily bootleg Neo Geo CDs, I assume they didn't have copy protection.
No. Those are very easy. And because you can not be on a 1X CD, you can they're playable. You don't have to wait for a lot of loading screens.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Neo Geo CD? You ever play one?
Never played one, no.
I'm looking at, there were a few exclusives. Looks like Samurai Showdown RPG is kind of a big one. And
Yeah, 'cause
eventually,
obviously this would have been intended for home users more than arcade users, so
yeah.
it would finally have an RPG.
Cross Swords 2, King of Fighters 96 Neo Geo Collection. Yeah, not a lot of exclusives there. I'm assuming the CDs were cheaper than their $200 carts. Maybe.
You know what's funny? Looking at the specs, this is probably actually weaker than a Sega CD.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Sega CD adds a second 68,000 processor, and the Neo Geo CD, because it's not an add-on, is just the same CPU as the original Neo Geo, which is also a 68,000, but there's only one of them. And then a Z80 code. I keep forgetting like Neo Geo and Sega Genesis are so incredibly close in hardware.
Yeah, the Neo Geo just had some megahertz. That's about it. Well, and the coprocessor.
Yeah.
Neo Geo seems like a weird one to program for because it's just all sprites, right? Even the background is sprites.
I've never thought of, I mean, I've thought about programming for it. The problem is I don't own any original hardware to test stuff on. But I think porting a Genesis game to Neo Geo is probably not very hard.
I don't know. You should look that up. They're supposed to be really different. Like Neo Geo is supposed to just be strange to code for. Because it's just how they deal with sprites different than other systems. But I'm not an assembly programmer, so
Yeah.
I'm just repeating things people have told me. Possibly on Reddit.
Yes.
But anyway, what else? I've been playing that Star Wars Outlaws game. I finished it. I loved it. And so I mentioned that I couldn't convert my Sony account to Australian. They just told me to create a new account, even though Microsoft, Steam, and Nintendo were just the click of a button. They're like, just create a new account. You could still play your old games with your US account, and you can play new games with your Australian account. Well, I played Star Wars Outlaws with my US account, not thinking about it. And I purchased the gold edition so I'd have all the DLC. Well, I went to add the code to, so the DLC happens, and it said you can't
Yeah.
use your US account. And so it's like,
Right.
oh, cool. I beat the game with my US account, and now I have this code for my Australian account, which won't have my save game. So good job, Sony. Really cool.
Yeah, I knew right away that was not going to work.
No, no. And again, there's no reason for them to reach and lock that code. So good job. And let's see. Oh, I just before this podcast, I will actually beat Astrobot a few days ago, but I only have 2 bots left before I platinum this thing. So I think it might be the greatest 3D platformer ever. It is my new identity, and the only thing I will ever play for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my review. It's a flawless game, infallible. And so in Australia, we're renting a house because it's impossible to buy houses here. Our landlord sold our house a few
All
days
right,
after.
So it's possible for someone to buy a house.
Yes, millionaires, yeah. So our landlord was like, hey, it'd be really cool if you moved. And the time we moved in is like the off season. So that would be the time our lease expires. So there's like no houses here. So the good news is we actually did find a house almost right across the street. And I will actually have a office/game room again.
Okay.
So
you're getting a bigger place.
yes, obviously we're paying a lot more money for it. We're already living above our means, but there you go. So we get to move twice in 4 months. Moving is not great.
It is awful, and it's awful with kids. And I was the kid who moved twice in 4 months. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Kids bounce back from it probably closer than the grown-ups do.
It's not like they're changing schools, though.
Oh yeah, so it's not really that traumatic then.
No, it's just annoying for us. And other than our game club games, and I mean, dealing with this move stuff, that's been crazy. But yeah, that's about all I've been doing. We only have a few news items this week, some good stuff. This was our intro. So there's this arcade-projects.com website that I've been to quite a bit. It's a legit site. But this guy on it for $69 is selling a, Colecoco master adapter. And it is an adapter to plug in Coleco games into your Sega Master System. And it looks like you buy it through here, maybe from messaging him. It's hard to understand, but this guy's legit. He's released other stuff before. And did you look at any of the videos on YouTube about this or anything?
No, I'm still boycotting YouTube. But how it works, because I was trying to figure out the specs on how it works. But
I mean,
I joked about the 2600 to ColecoVision adapter. Obviously that's not going to work here. Because that was maybe it would. I wonder, because they basically just crammed the 2600 CPU in a cartridge and had a way to route it through the Coleco's video hardware. So I wonder what this is doing.
Well, if you see videos, it's definitely using the Master System's color palette, because
Okay.
it's a bit brighter, like the Master System is, and on the back you could see how they do the number buttons.
Well, they're the same CPU basically.
Yeah.
It's a similar graphics chip. Yeah, I guess you could probably. Yeah, there's probably some way to natively run a ColecoVision game on the Master System with some kind of real time instruction rewriting or something.
Mm-hmm. So, but this looks cool. Yeah. So if anyone wants to check it out, at the very least, it's interesting. Oh, it says not working with power base converter for Genesis.
Yeah, probably. I can see that.
And what else do we have here? Oh, yeah. On the Mister, you can use a mouse to play Saturn games, which I thought was stupid at first, but it's really for light gun games. So,
Okay, I'm trying to remember, was there a Saturn mouse
I don't
at
think
retail?
so.
Like, this is the kind of thing I should know. Like, there was a PlayStation mouse, I believe.
I don't think there was a Saturn mouse. There was a Dreamcast mouse.
No, there is a Saturn mouse, but I think... Hold on. So there's a Sega... Because there was a Sega Genesis mouse. Mm-hmm. I think this might have been... Yeah, so the Saturn mouse is Japan only.
Okay.
To use with... Oh, man, the list of games it supports is huge, though. Wow. Although, now I look at this list, there is not a lot of U.S. releases on this list. Are there any U.S. releases on this list? Oh, huh. It's a lot of, like, interactive, not interactive fiction, but like, life sim, interactive fiction type of games.
Yeah.
They're bigger in Japan.
Yeah. But they recommend playing Police Knots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, kind of cool. This
really
next one is yours.
Yeah, and I just want to say I really want to get a Sega Genesis mouse so I can learn to program it, but I haven't done that yet. They're really expensive on eBay. It is silly how much the Sega mouse goes for.
I feel like you can make one out of a regular mouse and an adapter.
Yeah, I want to have the real hardware so I could build a demo for it. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Italian police sees 52.8 million in fake video game consoles. So those things they sell, those kiosks and junk they sell at the mall?
Yeah.
With all the junky systems. I guess Italy at least is cracking down on them. So
Good.
if they got 52.8 million worth of those in Italy, I can't even imagine what you would get. Any one mall in America is 52 million of that junk. They're just everywhere if you go to a mall lately.
But like, what's this photo they're using? This doesn't look like what they've been cracking down on, right?
Well, it's a fake Sega Genesis controller, and it's a cartridge. It's a game of some sort. It's Ray Allen in a Seattle...
Moonwalker.
Yeah, Moonwalker. When did Ray Allen play for the Sonics? Is that Ray Allen? Sure looks like Ray Allen.
I don't know who that is. Yeah, I guess this would be
some
bootleg stuff.
You don't know who Ray... Okay.
But this is... I don't know this era of basketball.
Okay, Ray Allen played for the Sonics from 2003 to 2007. So it would not be Sega Genesis era. Which is weird because the other pictures on there kind of look like it's Genesis games. So it's... Yeah, I mean, he'd be in... Okay, so like NBA Live 97 and 98 on the Sega Genesis would have Ray Allen. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this goes on to say that
thrilling.
Italy was or is a global hotspot for video game piracy, and straight up real companies with like real financials and tax IDs and stuff would just outright pirate software. So
wow.
Yeah, I did not know that.
And then the other one here is from timeextension.com. Please stop buying unofficial Saturn Mini consoles. So this is about, apparently on AliExpress, a site I would already recommend not purchasing from. Apparently a lot of people are selling, it's an import Sega Saturn that has been hacked to have an LCD screen attached to it. And I guess the flash card, Saru flash card installed. You probably know that. I don't know the flash card, but so basically they're ripping out the drive and putting in a flash card and attaching an LCD screen. But these are not like FPGA systems. These are used Saturns from like game stores that they are mutilating.
Yeah, that's so sad. Don't do that. Like under any circumstance, don't do that. These are horrible people.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a system made like what they show here, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And I could put a Saturn CD in it and play it. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
but that's not here.
Oh, and this poor YouTube video guy that they link to promoting it has his face all over it. So now this popular
Yeah.
website is now this guy's gonna get shunned or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, that's our news. Not a lot this episode. And we got some Game Club.
Yeah.
I guess we could go with my sorry pick first.
Yes.
So I did Beetlejuice. I played it on the NES. And I wouldn't even say I played it because I did not make that far into it with more than a few attempts. Okay, so this is a rare game, which surprised me that they developed this. And this was, I want to say, is this 92 or 91? I think 91.
Yeah. I don't think this was their A team that developed it. But...
No, and not at all. I think this is like someone's first game ever. And you play as Beetlejuice. It's a platformer, I guess, because some things look like you could jump on them and some things you don't, and you get it wrong often. And there's just nothing fun about this game. I guess the music is passable and the intro is okay. But I put in my notes here that I've been in bands that just aren't good before. And when you're not in a good band, I think people usually know. And I would try to fix it. And if that didn't work out, I would quit because who wants to be in a bad band? So programmers have got to know if they're making a bad game, right? Like this bad. This is like unacceptably bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've said that about any game we've picked, really. And so this must be just they had like a few weeks to program it. They had the IP. They just had to get it done, maybe. It's a train wreck. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. That was that's kind of I thought. So I watched the Tool Assistant speed run, which is just like a fever dream. So I tried the NES version, and I put down here that this is obviously what the Angry Video Game Nerd game is based on. Have you played the Angry Video Game Nerd game?
No.
It's remarkably similar to like the first stage of Beetlejuice.
Wow.
So like literally everything causes damage. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Your attacks are not even next to useless. They're useless. And you can die by falling through things that look solid.
Mm-hmm.
I had that a lot. And like I died a lot at the beginning because there's a key on like a ledge, like off the ledge at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'd like literally just fallen through a ledge, like a solid ledge, I didn't realize you could land on the cloud that was by the key, because why would I fall through like a solid brick or stone, but a cloud I can land on?
Yeah.
So
wow.
I died like just trying to get that key. So I went back and watched the Angry Video Game Nerd episode. Usually he tries to finish games, but it looks in that video like he gave up after the first boss. So as a side note, I've never seen the movie.
I love it. I didn't see the new one. I think you would like it. I do think you would like the movie.
Yeah, as I put in the notes here, like Beetlejuice came out in 1988, which was peak everything is lame age for me. AKA 8th grade.
Yeah.
Right, 8th grade, you think everything is awful.
Yeah,
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I think you come full circle around 50.
Well, this mixes a little bit of the movie with. For a while, there was an animated series, which again was not good.
Okay.
And so I think this pulls a lot from the animated series.
All right.
So it's a train wreck wrapped in a train wreck. So there you go. You didn't try the Game Boy port?
No, I don't have an image of it. It turns out.
That's probably for the better.
I could check. I have like all these. I have literally drawers filled with loose Game Boy cartridges. I guess I could look to see if maybe I own it. I don't know.
Yeah, you might own it. Well, let's hop to your game, which is a little bit better reviewed.
Yeah, so I went with Mortal Kombat 2. And then I realized right away what the problem is that I have written about this game a ton already. A good portion of my personal site is about this era of gaming, and sometimes Mortal Kombat 2 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have a ton of new things to say about it, is the problem. I've kind of talked about it too much already. I still think the 32X version is very good. Of course, the arcade is better. I always wish there was a PlayStation version, because I think that would have been really, really good. So I was trying to dig up if there was any new info I had on Mortal Kombat 2, and I can't remember if I wrote anywhere about when I saw the beta versions of it. So in Chicago area arcades, there were beta versions of Mortal Kombat 2 out, a few months before nationwide release.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw it, and I have witnesses, I was with someone when we saw this, had just the most insane bugs. Like, someone was playing and suddenly Liu Kang just turned into the dragon and did the dragon fatality in the middle of a fight. So, like, if you just did the input sequence for that, and I don't think this guy even knew what the input sequence was.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, like, he has the attack where he can freeze the ground. He could also freeze someone who was already slipping on the ground, which you can't do in the final version. The AI was really terrible. Like, Katana has that levitation attack, and the computer would just walk right into it every time. And Baraka's, like, where he sits on the ground and does, like, the blade thing. It's probably an official move for that. The PC would just walk right into that, too. So there were a lot of bugs for them to work out in these, like, beta versions. But it still looked amazing, I thought. It looked like I thought the original looked amazing, too, but it also reminded me of Pit Fighter, which is bad. But MK2, it's like, it's still digitized, but somehow the characters just... It's weird, like, the sprites, I think, are maybe smaller than the Mortal Kombat 1 sprites, but they look a lot better.
Have you met the actors to this, like, when they were at Midwest Gaming Classic?
So, yeah, I met them not at Midwest Gaming Classic, too. So the actor, Philip Ahn, MD, who plays Shang Tsung, has been at a couple Midwest Gaming Classics. And Johnny Cage, the guy who plays Johnny Cage, Daniel Pesina, is at just about every Midwest Gaming Classic. You forget that these guys, not Philip Ahn, but like Johnny Cage, Daniel Pesina, they were like stuntmen. Mm-hmm. They were like professional stuntmen. And no offense, they are really short. Like, that's the part that shot. Like, I'm like, oh, these guys are like 5'5".
Okay.
Which you forget that, like, actors are generally, shorter than average.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a ton of tall actors. And these guys, obviously because they're doing, they're doing stunt work, that kind of stuff, are in that same height range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that to me was surprising, because again, you see them on the arcade game, they look like, they could still, Daniel Pesina, even though he's 20 years older than me and a foot shorter than me, could still easily take me in a fight. Like, I'm not knocking the guy at all.
But you could probably beat him at Mortal Kombat.
I could definitely beat him at Mortal Kombat. I'm sure of that. And then, yeah, I talked about this on my website too, but like, when I was working at the game store, like, 3 of the Mortal Kombat actors came in once. They were just in the mall, like, and we gave them some free merch and got autographs.
That was
awesome. We had some promo items we could just give away, and so that was fun.
Speaking of celebrities, this is totally off topic.
Yeah.
I forgot to put this in the show notes, but Zach Discorded me the other day, mm-hmm. and for no reason at all, Sergeant Slaughter followed us on Twitter. We don't follow him. We've never mentioned him. We don't mention wrestling on Twitter, but Sergeant Slaughter, the real guy, followed us. And it didn't look like he followed many other people that day either.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he's one of my favorite... We'll answer this question in an upcoming Ask Us Anything episode, which you should send questions in soon now. Yeah. But he's one of my favorites.
Okay. That's an interesting one. Yeah,
I wonder if he listens.
I wonder. That would be something if he did. Yeah, he was in WWF long after he was done being an active wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was like, he had his personality was like he was head of security or something. You know, so whenever some wrestlers got like out of control, Sergeant Slaughter and the rest of the security guards would come out and take out. Yeah, he was in there for a long time.
If I didn't meet Majors, I would maybe start a conspiracy theory that he was Sergeant Slaughter listening to us and he got promoted to Major.
Oh, okay.
From Sergeant.
He is still alive, right? Yeah. I mean,
yeah, he just followed us. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that doesn't.
He's an active
necessarily
listener.
mean. Okay. Yeah, I believe he is alive. Yeah, 1948. I'm trying to think when was his last indie
so he's pushing 70. Yeah.
Yeah. Main evented one WrestleMania, so.
He's also a G.I. Joe.
He was a G.I. Joe figure. Yeah, I mean, he was like, there was an era where the WWF was just like poaching a lot of guys from Minnesota, from AWA in Minnesota, and he was part of that crew where.
Okay.
Well, Hulk Hogan came from that group too. You know, Minneapolis was like a real hot spot for, wrestling training and up and coming wrestlers, and Vince McMahon just basically stole anybody who was good from there. So hey, that's cool.
Mortal Kombat.
What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the other thing I remember that was really fun is there was a Namco Cyber Station near me, and they used to put the latest fighting game up on like a big screen. Like they somehow wired it up so like whoever was playing the arcade game the game would also be output to like the screen that was facing out into the mall.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did like Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter 2 were the ones that did there. And like when those games were new, man, there were legit real crowds watching the games.
Oh, I remember that without dual screens, people crowding them and being in awe.
Yeah, so that was a fun time. And I never got into any of the later Mortal Kombat games. The newer games just look like Saw movies to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not interested, and I don't know if there'll ever be something that, a 2D fighter that has the same appeal as Mortal Kombat 2. At least for me.
A lot of people say that the later Mortal Kombat, call it maybe, what was it, 9 through the current one, that the stories are actually really cool. Now, do you follow the Mortal Kombat story from like 1, 2, and 3? I don't know.
No, just the movie. Just the 1995 movie.
Okay. Hey, that latest movie that came out during the pandemic was great. I liked it.
Oh, I did not even know there was one.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's on something. And I wouldn't say it's great. I would say you have fun watching it. How about that?
Okay. I don't think I remember that movie. Let's see. Let me go. Realgood.com. Create a list. Mortal Kombat 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this sort of looks familiar. Maybe I did see a thing for it. It is... Oh, it's on HBO Max. I don't have that. Oh, wait a second. Play to TV. Netflix. Where to watch? This is confusing. Oh, I see. Hold on. It might be on Netflix. Currently, you're able to watch Mortal Kombat on Netflix, HBO Max. Okay. So I guess I can watch it.
You should.
This site's confusing. It's a good reference for like what is. I was on here yesterday because I was reading the. This is really thrilling material, by the way. I was reading the Wikipedia page of list of TV show spinoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned about some TV show spinoffs that sound just absolutely awful, and I decided I have to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of I'm like which of these are on Tubi? That's the important part, because Tubi has every awful show.
I love Tubi.
Yeah, but these weren't on there. Like I didn't realize the Enos character from Dukes of Hazzard had a spin-off TV show.
Really?
Yeah, it only lasted one season. It sounds bad.
Shocking. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was stuff like that where I'm like, well, that sounds completely unwatchable. I got to check that out. There's even a Doctor Who spin-off that takes place in like a high school where they're like battling monsters. And I'm like, I've literally never heard of this show, and I follow. Like, this is a TV show I follow, and I've never heard of the spin-off. And it came out in like the 2015 or something. So that's actually what I was looking for, but I got to get like a BBC subscription or something to watch that. I got too many subscriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your opinion of Mortal Kombat 2?
So I never really played it. I probably played it once in the arcade and just got smashed, I was always more Street Fighter rather than Mortal Kombat in terms of button layout. And so this is probably the first time I've played it since it was in the arcade. And I didn't hook up my 32X controller to my Mister yet since I moved here. That's what I was going to play it on because I don't have my actual 32X set up here. And so I just played the SNES port of it, and I just got demolished just because I'm so bad at it. I don't know any of the moves. So what I need is an 80s montage of me getting good at Mortal Kombat 2 and then walking into like a barcade and just owning some people on it. Maybe the background would be like you're the best around. That song.
Yeah, that one. That's a good one. I know that one. Everybody knows that song.
Yeah. So if you listen to this
South
podcast,
Park uses it for their training montages.
Yeah. So I think that's what I need to happen. But so I really don't have any opinion either way other than, it was Mortal Kombat. Nothing wrong with it. The SNES port seems fine, right? Like, do you have a opinion about the SNES port?
Yeah, that's the one where it has the 4-player, like, I don't know, Battle Royal mode. Battle Royal is not really the right term. Tandem. It's the tandem mode.
Yeah.
And that's fun with a group. By yourself, it's not so much fun. But it's a very good port.
Yeah. Yeah, so not much on that, just neutral, I guess. And then Julia from the Crimson Diamond chose Earthrise. And because of my house drama I guess it's been 2 weeks now, I haven't had a chance to play it. But yeah, this is a 1990 EGA text parser. Did I say, I don't know if I said MS-DOS based, but yeah, developed by Matt Gruesome, who has done other games. And this is, I don't think this sold well, but it got received really well. So this is on my DOS box list to play.
Okay.
How about you?
So I played it on my Chromebook.
Cool.
So I used the archive.org version, which is weird because it's like clearly uploaded by some rando that had save games, because you can like load their save games when you start it up. So whatever. I started new, and I kind of struggled because like I couldn't tell, like, do you have to go up to an object to use it? Like, I'm in a room and I see an object, can I type use object, or do I have to walk up to the object and then click, type, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a help command, but it doesn't really do anything. I thought maybe it would give me a list of all verbs or something. It doesn't really do anything. Now, I get it. Like, back in the day, games used to come with big manuals that were definitely required reading. And I think to prevent piracy, you obviously don't want the help command to be too helpful. You want people to have to own the manual.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And when I first played it, I accidentally walked off a ledge and got totally stuck. So then I went on GameFAQs, got the walkthrough, which at this point, like, I thought it was kind of a cool idea. Like, it reminded me a lot of the movie 2001. So I thought that was kind of fun. But you definitely are going to need, unless you have a lot of patience, you're going to need to just get the walkthrough.
Yeah. Which I think that's fine for older text and point and click games, because I mean, we have so many games we could play now, and those games were a bit convoluted because they want you to play it a long time and get your money's worth.
Yeah.
And I guess worth equals time back then. So, using a walkthrough is fine at this point. Well, cool. Well, we also have some email. If anyone wants to email us some feedback, please email us at email@retrogameclub.net. That is email@retrogameclub.net. We also have our Discord and our Instagram and all that stuff. It's all in our link tree that Zach maintains. Thank you, Zach. And on Discord, people have been making fun of me for playing and talking about too many modern games, which I don't blame them. And Woody writes in. He keeps meaning to message us. He's a big fan and still coming to terms with Hugh's retirement. And I love that we all talk about how it's like you're just going out to pasture.
Yeah, yeah. Even though I still have one more kid to pay for college.
Yeah. You're going away to the farm.
Yeah, no, I'm just packing up this giant microphone and all this other stuff that I have sitting around that I'm sick of bumping into all the time.
And he says his memories of Ridge Racer are playing the large screen sit-down cabinet. When it first came out, it was super immersive and quite an intense experience with techno blasting into your ears. Then got it for the PS1 with the analog Negacon. I thought it was Negacon, but he spells Negcon Namco controller. I'm probably wrong on that one.
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking of Transformers, which I saw that new movie. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, have you ever used those controllers? They look really like bulky and plasticky.
I have not, no. I mean, I have a couple giant oversized joysticks already.
It could be that one.
I did look at this. I gotta look at this again. No, I don't have this. I don't have this controller.
Okay.
Oh, this is not a joystick. This is that twisty one. Okay, I've seen this controller.
Yeah.
I've never used it.
And Destruction Derby was one of those games he played on the demo disc in one of the levels like 1,000 times. Really enjoyed and always wanted the full game, but never got it. I think that was like 90% of PlayStation experience with Destruction Derby, right? Mm-hmm. Somehow everyone had that demo disc.
I think it was packed with the system.
I think it was.
If not, I believe there were like $4.99 samplers that were sold early on too.
Oh, or maybe a lot of them wasn't there a PlayStation magazine that came with demo discs too? Or didn't like Next Generation come with demo discs?
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of demo discs early on. I have a binder filled with PlayStation demo discs, so I can look to see which one it's on.
That's awesome. Let's see. He goes on to say, I'm not very good at getting homebrew games. I did want to play Thrust on the Game Boy. It looks like there was an attempt to make Thrust for the GBA, but doesn't look finished. And what else? Would love to have a go on the Vectrex version. He says, I did recently enjoy the Mario Kart Horizons fan-made game. Not sure if that is homebrew. That's him saying that, not me. I actually don't know that game. We went to the Play Expo in Manchester in 2019, and while we were there, we went to the Arcade Club, which is the biggest retro arcade in Europe. Oh, that's awesome. Also, I really enjoy R: Racing by Namco, which is Ridge Racer influenced. I don't know if I pronounced R: Racing correct either. Woody, thank you so much for that email. Yeah, please keep emailing us. And yeah, feel free to send an image of that Negcon controller to make sure we know which one you're talking about. Because there's a few, and again, Google brings us right to Reddit. So, or eBay, which, yeah, I don't know which is better.
eBay, there's a chance it's the right product. Small chance. Majors writes in, and
you mean Sergeant Slaughter?
Sergeant Slaughter, I'm sorry. Sergeant Slaughter writes in. It says, Major Slaughter writes in to say, Rob mentioned that Quibi 10-minute shows was better than scrolling out the doctor's office. He'd also recommend Yahoo Auctions to look at foreign import games and toys, which I can relate to. Price is Right ASMR. I don't know what ASMR stands for. It's what I use it for. He recommends a lot of, again, on streaming services, you can get stuff like Night Court and News Radio. Mm-hmm. MST3K, that's a good one too, because you can kind of just have that going.
I have all of those from VHS, like even the ones that never were for sale. I have actual VHS recordings of all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's all on Pluto, but probably not the ones you have recorded.
And I actually pay for riff tracks on Twitch. I actually pay them money every month.
He also mentions that at his local electronics recycling, you are not allowed to get out of your vehicle. Yeah, see, the problem here is here. They don't want to staff this place. It's basically just a drop off. This is the problem. Yeah, but I could understand if it's open like on Saturdays only and you drive up and drop it off. But no. Mentions Doom on the 32X. Would like to recommend Power Slave.
Okay.
If you enjoyed solid game.
Yeah.
Great Doom-like game, but it gets very, very difficult. The Julie Minamata interview. he also agrees with limited requirements that, like computer art and sticking with EGA were good. Also found it funny that 140 meg is now considered tiny. Speaking of Doom, like that is the one, like whenever I download Doom on a new console and it's like, Doom came on like a 3.5-inch, floppy disk, and now it's like 200 meg download. I'm like, it's Doom.
Yeah.
And Space Quest was the only point and click adventure game he ever really got into. Which I'm sure you can relate to.
I love that game. And his BBS handle is Roger Wilco, who's the guy from Space Quest. Now, Space Quest, I think, would make an amazing Netflix show. Like, if they would adopt anything like that, adapt anything like
either
that.
of those things, yeah.
Yes. Space Quest would be perfect.
Yeah, like King's Quest would only work if it was sort of like a Groundhog Day thing where the king or the prince, was he a king in the first game, or was he still just a prince?
He was just a guy and then became king because the king had a heart attack. Spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want listen to this concept. I just thought of this right now. It's a King's Quest TV show, but it's like Groundhog Day in that Graham, that's the main character, right?
Yeah.
He dies every episode in one of the ways you get killed in that game.
That's a great idea.
And then wakes up and he's back at the beginning of the game, but now he at least knows how to not die in that one part.
That would be a great idea. It's like, oh my God, someone like Charlie Brooker doing that. The guy from Dark Mirror. Oh my gosh, he would be perfect to write and direct something like that. Yes, I need that to happen. I need that to be in my life. Who would play Graham?
Too. That would be fun.
Who would play Graham? I could definitely see Space Quest. Roger Wilco would definitely be Chris Pratt. He'd be one of the Chris's for sure.
Yeah, I would go with someone younger. I just have to. I don't know younger actors very well.
Yeah,
but it would have to be someone who can do, because this King's Quest idea, they would have to be a comedic actor, like someone who looks like a young Carrie Ells, right? Like 20-year-old Carrie. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
But someone who can sort of toggle between serious and comedic very easily.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, but I don't know who the modern equivalent of
maybe a young John Hamm. John Hamm does some pretty good comedy sometimes.
The equivalent, hold on, of Carrie Ells, which I misspelled. And do you want to guess what that comes to? So I typed in modern equivalent of Carrie Ells. First result.
Who would it be? No, I have no idea.
Reddit. I am Carrie Ells, actor and author. Ask me anything.
So
there is who is the modern equivalent of Robin Williams or Jim Carrey comes up. And this recommends Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, John Mulaney, Pete Davidson, and Emma Stone. I'm going to cast Pete Davidson then in my King's Quest reboot.
That wouldn't be bad. I don't know if he's young anymore, but
it's like 30. It's young, relatively young.
Yeah.
You have to cover up the tats a little bit, maybe, but I think it could work. Remake on this article where someone's proposing a recasting of Princess Bride with young actors. Oh, I see. But this article goes on for like a year before you get to the casting, so I'm not going to read it.
Well, we have a social media question, one feedback this time for favorite homebrew game, and someone writes in Possum Country on the Game Boy Color. And our next question, I think, is an amazing question. I hope everyone writes in for this question. Who knows how many listeners have made it this far? I think we should make a list for ourselves. But have you ever experienced the Mandela effect moment in gaming?
Yeah, we talked about this briefly in the last episode, and I was having a hard time coming up with an example, and I'm going to have to think really hard about this, where like sometimes I can't remember a game and then I find out it actually did. There's a game I'm positive existed.
Yeah.
And then I can't track it down anywhere. And then I find some obscure reference and to find out it actually did exist, like Thayer's Quest, the Laserdisc game.
Or or you did read it didn't exist, but one magazine said it did, but it never came out or something.
It never came out.
So you just didn't make it up.
Those.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm so convinced I saw a Mach 3, which is another Laserdisc game that was like a sit-down cabinet, and I don't think I've ever found any confirmation that thing existed.
Well, well, still, if what was I gonna say? If enough listeners write in, we will make it a topic of next episode.
Yeah, yeah. And we didn't mention our next Game Club picks are, by the way.
Oh yeah, why would we do that? Let's see. What are you gonna play next?
I'm going to play Treasure of Tarmin, a.k.a. Minotaur, which is a Intellivision game. You definitely need the full keypad to play it. But it's a really good game. I mean, it's a game I like a lot. It's a randomly generated dungeon game. I'm always a fan of those. So give that a try. I'm picking it. Next two picks I'm going to have are. I think this is the problem. This is part of when I talk about returning from podcasting. Like in October, I want to pick like some horror games every episode, and I am out of horror games I want to talk about. Like zero, nothing left.
Well,
there's some where it's like, well, I kind of want to play the first Manhunt on PlayStation 2 because I've only played Manhunt 2, but I don't really know if I want to talk about a game that's that violent on the podcast. No, I'm serious. Like I said, I don't really, it's I can enjoy that type of game, but I don't necessarily want to do an episode about all the brutal ways you murder people in Manhunt. But Treasure of Tarmin is not a Halloween game, but it is creepy, and there are jump scares in it.
Dark themes.
Yeah. So I think it's appropriate for this time of year.
Well, mine is not scary at all. I guess it could be if you make up your own story to it, but this is a game I cannot believe we picked, and I searched through our episode logs. Marble Madness. I cannot believe we haven't done it. I've been watching a lot of speedruns of it lately. Yeah,
I think you talk about this game a lot. I think you've mentioned this game quite a few times, and I know you like this one a lot.
I do. I really do. But so, if any of our listeners play Treasure of Tarmin, a.k.a. Minotaur, Marble Madness, Earthrise, Mortal Kombat 2, Beetlejuice, if you are Sergeant Slaughter, if you put adapters into your Master System, if you're pirating stuff in Italy, please write us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net. And did we have anything else we forgot to mention? Mandela effect.
No, I mean,
Write in your Mandela effect.
Yes, and then also the Ask Us Anything. We have some emails. I'm not saying we don't have any. We have some, and they're perfectly good questions. But I would really like a few more Ask Us Anything questions.
Yeah.
And that's email at retrogameclub.net.
Yeah. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah. All right. So thanks for listening.